Hello, BookTube. This video is going to be in the nature of a do-over. I know I always say that when you're opening packages of mail live on camera, you don't get to do it over. That's the whole point of a mail haul. Is I don't edit. I don't do edits on my video. I don't stop. I do everything in one take. So I can't redo a mail haul. If something goes wrong, the audio goes off, the power goes out of the computer, somebody comes to the door in the middle of a mail haul, I just have to stop. And I feel like I owe you a 3-book mail haul because I got a shipment of mail yesterday that was 3 books. And I thought, okay, it's a small mail haul, but they haven't heard from you too much today. So, you know, let's just do a mail haul. Frida was on the spot. She was perfectly happy to be attacking packages. I was perfectly happy to do it. And oh my God, BookTube, you wouldn't believe the books. You wouldn't believe the books. The first book, none of them were books that I had requested, and none of them were books that I had noted in catalogs as being anything that I'd be interested in. They were all just wild shots on the part of their publicists. And I ordinarily encourage that. Publicists are some of my favorite people to deal with, and I love their passions. But oh my God, did it fail this time around. Oh my. The first book was mildly irritating. I think it prompted a 20-minute rant. About its egregious abuses of the English language, with me going on and on saying, I don't care what college you teach cultural acceptance at, you don't get to mangle the English language. You found it as an inheritance from 50 generations. You don't get to change it just because of how you cut your hair. There's a little glimpse of what that rant was like, only much longer. I thought, even on camera, I said, well, okay, that was a really bad start. But they can't all be like this, and BookTube, they were all like that. They were all like that. The second book was even worse. The third book was even worse than the first two. So by the end, I was literally just yelling at the camera with all sorts of ridiculous nonsense. And when I was finished, I actually apologized on camera, but even while the words were leaving my mouth, I knew, no, you're not going to bother to upload this. You're going to bash on 3 innocent books that just happen to be sent to the wrong person. You're going to trap a bunch of viewers in a video of foam-flecked, eye-rolling ranting instead of when they come here for books. So, I just deleted it. And I felt bad about that, because once I start a conversation with you, I like to have that conversation. I like to think we know each other well enough so that we can handle even a curveball that comes our way in the middle of one of those conversations. But this one was not salvageable, but I still feel like I owe you a 3-book mail haul. And as Providence would have it, I got 3 books just now. So we're going to go through these books. As far as I am concerned, this video will go up. As far as I am concerned, the odds against these 3 books, also all 3 being completely unacceptable in civilized society, directly after 3 books that were like that, those odds are virtually incalculable. So I am just going to forge right ahead here. I've got my little bean right here and ready. We've had a very sleepy morning, haven't we? We've had a very sleepy morning because it's raining here. And the bean hates the rain. So let's do the first one. It's light, could be a mass market, might be a romance. Will certainly go a long way towards fixing the problems of yesterday. Oh, it is a romance. Oh, okay. This is by Lorraine Heath. She is very good at dialogue, very good at humor. And this is The Scoundrel in Her Bed. It doesn't have a back cover or a step back, so that is just the cover. The Scoundrel in Her Bed. What have we got here? The bastard son of a nobleman, Finn Trelove. Truelove. His name is Truelove. Trewlove. True. Was a shameful secret raised by a stranger. As Finn came of age, he had secrets too, like clandestine nights with an earl's daughter. But her promise of forever ended in betrayal. Driven by a past that haunts her, Lady Lavinia Kent seeks redemption in London's underworld, engaged in a daring cause inspired by the young man to whom she gave her innocence, and who then proved himself a scoundrel by abandoning her. When their paths cross again, they can't deny the yearning and desire that still burns. As they discover the truth behind the deceptions that tore them apart, Finn and Lavinia must fight to reclaim what they've lost, no matter how dangerous, because love is worth the risk. And this being a modern-day Regency romance, of course, love is worth the risk. And they had a horrible, horrible, personally wounding past. Something you wouldn't think they'd be able to overcome. They meet each other by chance. Probably what will happen is that they will overcome the emotional wounds of that past and fall in love with each other. But this being a romance novel, a Regency romance novel, it will turn out also, I guarantee, that Finn Truelove is not actually illegitimate. These things don't just end in love. They also end in landed estates. I guarantee it. He will turn out to be real. To be, you know, an heir to, who was it? A nobleman. Doesn't say who his nobleman father is. She's the daughter of an earl. Who is he the son of? Do we know? We'll be able to tell? Well, no, it'll be sometime, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because one way or another, we're told in that description that he's illegitimate, but he won't end up being that way. There will be landed estates involved here, and they won't just be hers. But it doesn't matter, because I've read... I'm looking at my romance shelf here. The other day, it was, I think about a week and a half ago, or a week ago, it was simply too cold to do anything without warming up. So, to warm up, I pulled all my modern-day Regency romances, not the older kind, but these modern-day ones that have naked people on the cover. I pulled those all off the shelf and arranged them alphabetically so that I would have an idea of how many books by one author I have. And I'm looking to see. Lorraine Heath, I don't think, is visible. She's right there next to Georgette Heyer. But that's wonderful. All right, so we start off just fine. We start off with a romance novel, and it's by a romance author I know I like. So that's great. All right, let's see what we have next here. Okay. All right. I don't recognize this. I did not request it, which of course makes me spasm, because yesterday I got books I didn't request and it was a disaster. But this doesn't look like a disaster. This looks like a lot of fun. This comes out in late April. It's by Brian Raftery, and it's called Best Period, Movie Period, Year Period, Ever Period, in a mimic of the Twitter-inspired SJW idea of putting a period after every one of your words because you do not want to hear anything except complete agreement. So every word in your statement has a period after it, or on Twitter, a clapping icon. Because this is not a discussion at all. But I'm not going to rant about a perfectly harmless book. This is Best Movie Year Ever. And the subtitle is How 1999 Blew Up the Big Screen. And there are a bunch of drawings, stiletto drawings, of 1999 movies. Isn't that something? In 1999, Hollywood as we know it exploded. Fight Club, The Matrix, Office Space, Election, The Blair Witch Project, The Sixth Sense, Being John Malkovich, The Phantom Menace, American Beauty, Virgin Suicide, Boys Don't Cry, The Best Man, Three Kings, Magnolia. Those are all just some of the landmark titles released in a dizzying movie year, one in which a group of daring filmmakers and performers push cinema to new limits. I love it. I absolutely love it. So what I want, ideally, is for Alex, late of Kingly Endeavors, he's left BookTube in order to do the 1,000 Movie Project. What I would like, ideally, is for him to review this book for me. I'm pretty sure he hadn't yet been born in 1999, but who cares? He's a movie guy. That would be nice. He's a movie guy who writes the Dickens out of prose. So, if he's watching, you've been drafted. And if he's not watching, I imagine he's not, I will let him know that I'm going to send him this book and I want him to review it. It comes out in late April. I'm sure that he can budget the time. All right, great. Oh, fantastic. All right, so a romance novel and the year that 1999 exploded the movie theaters. And that leaves us with this last package. And then we'll be done with a do-over mail haul. Now, Bean, this is classic of a time that... I'll give it to you, but this is all... You make this very loud when you do it. They can barely hear me over you anyway. All right, okay. You have to jump for it, Bean. I'm not going to just hand it to you. Go peel me a grape. See? They're so loud because she can't destroy them. They're plastic. So she can't shred them. But she keeps trying. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Okay, this is a double. But it's a very worthy book. It's a fantastic book. I didn't think it would be. Or rather, I thought it would be really good, but that it would fall in the shadow of great work of American history on the same rough subject 100 years ago. But instead, I loved it. It's by Robert Goodwin, and it's America. With the accent, this, in order to be the Spanish word, this is the epic story of Spanish North America from 1493 to 1898. And it was really, really good. It comes out in March, in early March. In 1492, Christopher Columbus claimed the Americas for the Catholic monarchs of Spain. By the July the 4th, 1776, the birth of the United States of America, all the land west of the Mississippi was marked on European maps as Spanish. Now Mexico and California spread north into distant, unvisited places. Spanish influence would soon reach from Louisiana across the south to Florida. Spain's empire didn't end until the United States won the war with Mexico in 1848. This is a great big thing. Totally evocatively written. Through the lives of well-known Spanish explorers like Columbus, Cortez, Ponce de Leon, and ordinary stories of Native Americans, Spanish soldiers, and early settlers, this book weaves together the history of North America in this pivotal but frequently overlooked period. And it wasn't overlooked by a certain Boston historian, who I've written about at great length. I will leave a link down below. His books on this subject are gorgeously written. Gorgeously. I don't think that Robert Goodwin would argue with me if I pointed out that his own book doesn't come anywhere near the eloquence that was common in the 19th century. It's just, there was something in the air in the 19th century, even in mongrelly ex-colonial America. There was still something in the air. But his book does the crucial stuff that those earlier accounts, 19th century accounts, don't do, right? An account by Prescott or anybody else in 19th century America would still have been heavily colored with manifest destiny, with all sorts of ideas that we have abandoned now, in favor of saying, well, you know, a conqueror is a conqueror, regardless of whether or not they're in my family tree. And the misery of the conquered is wrong, regardless of what they're like, regardless of what kind of house they live in, or what kind of society they have, or whether or not they have tea. So this is one of those cases where the zeitgeist really has changed and does call for a new book. It to my mind, looks like a small book compared to some of the other, the epic 19th century accounts of the Spanish in North America, but it was really good. Deserves a place on their shelf. And I don't say that lightly, obviously, since I am a denizen of the 19th century Boston. But this comes out in early March, and like I mentioned, I already have a copy of it. So I have a feeling this will be winging its way to a certain tiny library, because it's well worth the attention of the patrons of that library. But anyway, there we go. A do-over mail haul that actually worked. We have a great work of history. I'd be amazed if this thing doesn't show up on my year-end Steve Reed's list of best history. I'd be amazed. Then we have a work about movies, about 1999, and the movies that came out in 1999. Best period movie period ever, period. Which I am going to get Alex to review. And The Scoundrel in Her Bed by the great Lorraine Heath. Fantastic. Okay, well, if only I'd had this mail haul last night, we'd be one up on a video, but instead I had to just destroy it. So this one I will not be destroying. What a haul. What a great trio of books to start the day. Fantastic. So I will wrap this up for now. But I think we have lots of other bookish stuff to talk about. So you will probably see this face and that face again. Thank you, BookTube.